Our next step is obviously to be able to get the user credentials and then pass it to our Stripe API, which is going to return to us a token. Okay, so if we click on this right now, it looks like we need to fill in the email field. Okay, but we already have an authenticated user and we collected his email and we verified his email, right? So why don't we pre-fill this email field for the user? I'll head over to Stripe and I'm going to show you why we're doing the custom rather than the simple, because the simple, it's automatically just going to create this model with the email field and everything. But with the custom, like we're doing now, we can pre-fill the custom user email. So let's go ahead to our subscribe.blade.php, and in this, we're going to pass in a property called email, and this prop is going to simply be the authenticated user's email. So let's just say auth user, and then we'll get the email. Okay, then our Stripe view component, we need to register that prop. So right here, I'm going to say props, and this will be email. Right down at the bottom, when we are opening the handler, what we can do is set an email property, which is going to be equal to this.email. Okay, so let's visit our browser, refresh, click on the yearly plan, and now we have the email automatically filled in right here. So we just need the user's credit card information and then we can pay, right? So now if we fill in these credentials and actually click on pay, it's going to get the token for us, because what we want to do is transform this card and this field into a token, and then we're going to charge the token actually using Laravel cashier. So this method right here is going to be in charge of the callback once the token is acquired from Stripe API. Okay, so remember, we need to get token and then we get the ID. So this is what we're going to do right here. We're going to be making an API request to Laravel, but for now, let's just console.log token.id so you understand what we've been doing all this while. So I'm going to open up my console, refresh this, head over to my console right there, and then we're going to create a monthly subscription. So I'll click on that. It's going to open that modal. I'm going to put in a test card from Stripe, put in any date in the future, and then put in any CVC number. So pay, it's going to make that API request to Stripe, get a token, and then it's going to paste the token right here. So that's it. We're getting tokens successfully from Stripe. This Stripe token right actually represents token that is passed in here into our Laravel cashier method. So when we pass this token, Laravel is automatically going to call the Stripe server again, and then it's going to charge the user. Okay, so looks like for us to charge a user and subscribe him to a new subscription, we need to pass in the name of the subscription plan, just like we're having it right here. So if it's monthly, we need to tell Laravel it's monthly, or if it's yearly, we need to tell Laravel it's yearly, and that's it. And then we need to pass in the Stripe token. Okay, so why don't we do this? Let's just do this in a really fast way. Let's just import Axios from Axios, right? And then we're going to make that Axios post request. So Axios.post, and we'll simply call a subscribe endpoint, and we'll need to pass in the data. We're going to pass in Stripe token, and it's going to be token.id. And we also need to pass in the plan, which is going to be this.plan, right? But then it's not going to work that way, and I promise you that. I'm just going to show you right here. Okay, so let's just say we make this API request like this. I'll head over to my web, create that method. So it's a route and it's a post, it's subscribe, and we'll just use a closure right here, and we'll just return request all. Okay, so let's try that. As soon as we receive a token from Stripe, we're going to make that Axios post request to that endpoint and pass in the Stripe token and the plan. Okay, so let's make that request, refresh right here. Oh, and for us to actually see the result from the server, let's actually subscribe to the then, get the response, and console.log response. Okay, now let's refresh and make sure we make that request. Okay, subscribe to yearly plan, pass in a fake credit card, pass in a future date, and pass in a fake CVC. Okay, pay. Stripe creates the token, it makes that API request to our backend server, and then we have the data returned. Remember, we are returning request all, right? But look at what's happening. We are just passing in the Stripe token. What happened to the plan? It means our plan is not actually reaching the server. And this is simply a little bit of JavaScript right here, because we are in this object, and then we have a method inside a nested object, and then we are trying to reference this, and this can no longer refer to view. Okay, so we can't be getting the view instance if we call this right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a little trick, and that is right here we're gonna say window.stripeplan equals monthly or window.stripeplan equals yearly. Okay, so we're gonna save it on the global window object so that we can access it from anywhere. And then when we save it on the global window, what we're gonna do right here is for the plan, we're gonna say window.stripeplan should be what is passed into this plan property. Okay, so this is simply a problem of accessibility. We can access the view instance from a nested method inside a nested object. Okay, so this should get us the Stripe plan. Let's visit our browser, refresh, and then let's create a new plan. Pass in a fake credit card, any future dates, and pay. And there we have the data, and our data now have the monthly plan because we click on the monthly, right? So let's work on our back end. Remember, how do we subscribe a user to a plan? Easy as milk. We simply call auth user, create a new subscription, and this subscription will be called the request plan. So if it was monthly plan, then we're gonna pass in monthly plan. If it was a yearly plan, we're also gonna pass in yearly plan. And we're also gonna pass in the same request plan as the second parameter, and we're gonna call the create method, and we're gonna pass in request Stripe token. Okay, so look at this. We're just doing exactly what was in the Laravel documentation, nothing strange. Okay, so we have this new subscription method, and the first parameter here is the name of the subscription, the way we want to save it in our database. The second parameter here is the name of the subscription on our Stripe dashboard. So on our Stripe dashboard, we've named it as monthly or yearly, and in our database, we want to save it as monthly or yearly. So that's why we pass request plan right here and request plan right here. And then for our create method, we need to pass in the Stripe token, and just like we did with our Axios, we are passing in Stripe token as the key right here, and that's how we're accessing it right here. Okay, so once this is done, why don't we simply return it? So return this, and I think this is going to return to us the subscription that the user was just subscribed to. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this. And actually this is going to create a new subscription in our database, and it's also going to create a new subscription on our Stripe dashboard. Okay, so I just thought of something right now. Let me just repair it right here. So PHP artisan tinker, and I'm gonna get all the users. Yeah, and I thought so. I'm using this email as my test account, but actually I already have a Stripe plan on my dashboard while I was testing some stuff. So all I want to do is actually change the email. So user equals bestcourses user first, and would simply update the email to be something else. So maybe katifriends@mymail.com and save the email. Okay, so I think we're good to go. If I refresh now and we click on subscribe, okay, we have that new email. So if everything works well, we should have a Stripe subscription on our Stripe dashboard, and we should have a new subscription in our database. So let's pass in the credit card, pass in the fake month of expiration, pass in the fake CVC, and pay. Okay, it's made that API request. Now it's made the request to Laravel cashier. Laravel cashier is making an API request to the backend Stripe server, and anytime soon we should have a response. Great, we have a successful response. Okay, so look at the data. We have a response right here which contains the Stripe subscription in our database. So let's visit our Stripe dashboard. So if you check out our Stripe dashboard right here in the home, we have a payment just now right here. Okay, so we have hit a new payment right here of $9.99, which is what we just did. Okay, then if we check out on our database using Tinker, if we get user and we get subscriptions, you discover that this user has a new subscription, and this subscription is a monthly one that we just set up right now. And if you look at the date, it's actually just right now. Okay, so we are actually successfully subscribing users to plans in our application, but then we don't want to do it like this, right? It's kind of soppy having a route file with this method and then making API requests with view and waiting for a long time before receiving a request response. Okay, but we're going to tackle this in the very next video. Thank you so much and see you then.